super excited. I started my leather work. Got all my tools ready. I'm ready to go. I got my projects lined up. I gotta buy some leather. Well, I never done that before. What the heck? I gotta buy leather online. There ain't no way around here to buy leather. What do I do? We're here today to walk through it. So we're gonna get you through how to buy leather online, how to dig through it, how to go through all the fluff, how to go through all the crap and get you something that you want. Get you a nice piece of leather so you ain't gotta waste your time and money and get something that you don't want. So stay tuned, hit the subscribe, hit the like. We're coming at you with a whole bunch of knowledge today. I appreciate you stopping by. Here we go. So one of the first things you're gonna look at, there's a bunch of different variations, but generally chrome tan leather and veg tan leather are gonna be your two choices. So if you haven't worked with either of these before, I have a video on the differences in the tanning process and what it produces. For the most part, vegetable tan leather is a little bit more rigid. It takes a whole lot longer to produce. And this stuff is around for the long haul. It's usually a little bit more rigid, and the coloring is a little bit, it does get some patina, but it's almost, it stays there. It's kind of true to color until that patina takes over. On the other hand, chrome tan leather, there can be so many different variations of color, and there's something called pull-up effect to where you bend that leather and it kind of changes color as you use it. So a lot of times you'll see different types of products with bags or wallets or whatever, and you'll kind of see there's just some variations in the color all over the place. A lot of times that's like a pull-up leather that you'll notice. It's awesome. It takes a little bit less time to produce, and so it's a little bit more abundant. Sometimes it can be more price affordable, sometimes not, because there's some very, very high-end chrome tan leathers. But you get what you pay for. There's Horween comes to mind. That's one of the most incredible chrome tan leathers I've worked with, and the pull up on it is awesome. Just the different character it takes on is awesome. But that's kind of where you want to start. Does your project need something a little bit more rigid? Does your project need something a little bit more flashy in the color, or you want to have some more variations in there? That's something you're going to have to think about. Check out my video on veg tan leather and chrome tan leather for a little bit more details, but that's just kind of a broad range to start with. Sizing is going to be another portion of this, but sizing can range. Sometimes it's 22 square feet, sometimes it's 28 square feet. So you just have to base it on what that animal is, and it'll let you know in the description generally what that animal is and how many square feet. But pay attention, because you'll see a price and you'll think it's for a whole lot of leather. You might see it's listed as a single shoulder. So if you think of an animal, if you tear that skin off like this, and you think of a single shoulder, right? That's not going to be very much square feet, right? So look at the square feet and look at a side of leather. You might see, again, 22 square feet. If it's a smaller animal, it might only be 14 square feet. But the square foot is going to be important, because you think about price per square foot. If that's $200 and you only get, 4 square feet, well, that's a super expensive leather, right? If it's $200 and it's 28 square feet, it's like, well, that's a little bit different, right? And so the size of it is a very important part. Don't overlook it, because sometimes you'll just look at the price and you'll think it's great, and then you get a little piece of leather this big and you're saying, well, shoot, I had this huge project and I can't make anything out of this. But sizing is a very, very, so you'll see it as cut. And a lot of times it'll show you a picture, so it'll kind of show the picture of the animal if you were to fillet that skin out this way, and then it'll give you kind of a marking of what that what area that is. So it could be a single shoulder, which is just going to be a single shoulder, double shoulder, which will be both shoulders, and you'll kind of get the top portion. Those tend to be the most rigid portion. If you think about areas like the belly, you'll see bellies written sometimes. Those tend to be a little bit looser, a little bit less firm, and kind of more wavy. And you think about a belly of anything, but especially an animal, it's just going to be a little bit thinner almost in the feel for it, and it has a little bit more variation in there in the depth and how it feels and everything. So you can get a little bit difference in the rigidity and things like that based on where that animal is cut from, or excuse me, where that leather portion is cut from. Grading is something that's super important. The reason being, there's grades you'll see. Generally, it starts with A. A grade. These things are, for the most part, flawless. You may have a small little imperfections here and there, but for the most part, let's say you're getting an entire side of leather. It's 20 square feet. That thing's going to be gorgeous. If it's an A, there may be some small little things in there, but for the most part, you're getting a wide area where you can really use a good portion of that hide and use it for your benefit, because there's going to be so many different options that you can do, because there's so much good leather and good cutting that you'll have available. Grade B, a lot of these, especially if you're starting out, I would go with the grade B, for the reason being they're much more affordable, and there may only be a little bit of problems in there. I've gotten some grade B sides, and maybe they have a brand mark on one side, but then you got 18 square feet of absolutely gorgeous leather. And a lot of times they'll give you a picture of whatever it may be. So let's say it's a grade B side. They may give you some pictures, and they may show you what the imperfections are. If it's not too bad, I actually had this one cool brand mark that was in there, and I actually used it on the side of a bag. I thought it was awesome. But I got that thing discounted. It was probably half of what I would have paid for it otherwise. And stay tuned till the end. I got a couple of the companies that I use that sell some gorgeous products, and they kind of give you those ranges there. So that'll be towards the end. But you can also get grade C. Sometimes it's called craft grade. And I bought one of these once. It was a veg tan. I was all excited. This was early on. It was wrapped nicely, so I just got the grain side. I'm looking at it, or flesh side. I'm sorry. I'm looking at it, and it was as clean as it could be on the back end. I unrolled this joker, and it looked like it had been attacked by 14,000 mosquitoes. It had bites, and it was terrible. I still have some of it today. It's been a couple years in the making. Every now and then I'll find some things to use it for, that I can kind of hide and use in places, but you know, it's relatively fairly cheap. It's much cheaper than what the grade A is going to be, for sure. If you got some uses for it, that's cool. I haven't found many good ones for it, but again, that's kind of in the craft range, or grade C. I mean, there's gonna be cuts and holes, and there'll be all kind of stuff in there. They're usually generally pretty good about letting you know what it involves. Again, it's in the description. You just got to kind of dig through it and make sure that you know what you're getting before you do get it. So the grain. Look at me in the eyes right here. Look right here. Do not, under any circumstance, if you're trying to make something that's worth the crap, do not use genuine leather. It's the plywood of leather work. If you listen to nothing else on this video right here, know that. And if you got a friend that says he wants to use genuine leather, tell him no. Friends don't let friends use genuine leather. Let's be honest. It's kind of the scraps that are used after everything's cut down. It's mashed together. It's trash. For some reason, it's gotten this thing in marketing where it looks fancy, and it's like, oh, it's genuine leather. That's got to be nice. It is the absolute bottom of the barrel. Top grain, full grain, that's where you want to stay. Stay right in there. Anything below that, it's fine. But do not, under any circumstance, if you want to make something nice, put genuine leather in there. Tell somebody else, because we got to get this thing going. I don't know why everybody's been fooled by this. They see their watch bands, that little liner says, oh, it's genuine leather. It is nice. Get out of here. That's trash. I feel like I keep saying this is the most important part of it, but the ounces or the thickness of the leather that you are picking, all right, it's the most important. I know I've probably said that about 4 or 5 different things, but you can't make certain things with certain thicknesses of leather. You can, but it's not going to be right. Go ahead and try to make a wallet with some belt leather. Let me see how that goes. You know, some 8-ounce leather. Let me see how that wallet looks when you're done. So the thickness, this is something as you get, and it's going to be specific to every project. If you want a belt, well, go ahead and make that belt leather and get that 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-ounce leather. But otherwise, you're going to have to know exactly what you have in mind for making before you can buy any amounts of leather. because you got to know what that thickness is. They range from 1 ounce, 12. Sometimes you'll see them higher than that, but anything above that is going to be super thick. So you're going to have a specific use for those things. 1, 2 ounce. Those are relatively thin liners and things like that that can be used for sometimes wallets. Some people make like a 2 ounce internal pieces of wallets and things like that. 3 to 4 ounce, you got a pretty good wide variety of things you can make. For me, so I do a lot of wallets, which I usually stay in that 3 ounce range. I do shoes, same thing. I'm kind of in that 3 ounce range, 3.5 ounce. And watch bands, I usually like those a little bit thicker. I don't like a little flimsy thing, and sending out products that are a little bit flimsy. So I usually try to go into that 5, 6, sometimes 7 ounce range. If it's a vegetable tan, it's a little bit more rigid, I'll come back. I'm good with 5.5. I usually don't like to go below that. If it's a chrome tan leather, I usually like to stay 6 and up, just because it's a little bit softer and I just don't want it to feel flimsy. That's just a personal thing. Let's see. So I went through watches, shoes, belts, 9 and up, especially if it's chrome tan. If it is vegetable, you could probably get away with 8, but I would stay in kind of that 9 to 11, 9 to 12 range for belt thickness. So just kind of know what you're looking at, and it's in ounces. Just kind of a general get 0.4 millimeters per ounce. And again, it usually has those conversions in there. You know, it'll give you a range. So it'll say 3.5 to 4 ounce leather, and it kind of gives you the millimeters beside it. So just kind of keep those things in mind. And again, the more and more times you do this, it'll make sense. So you're not going to buy the wrong ounce leather for whatever your project is. But that is a very, very key part to buying leather online, is knowing exactly what the heck you're buying, how thick it's going to be, and how it's going to work for your project. Sometimes you'll see temper on there, and it's not that this thing's throwing a fit or has an attitude, but it's how it's usually a 1 to 10, or sometimes it'll be like a medium. You know, you see like that medium, soft, whatever. I usually like the 1 to 10 scale, and then 1 being, you know, a limp noodle, and 10 being a bound book, right? So you know, that's how rigid your leather is going to be. It's either real flimsy, real flexible. I hate the word flimsy. I'm sorry. Real flexible, real soft, and you know, towards the soft side, or towards that 1. And then as you get up, it's going to be more rigid and have more firmness to it. And so again, think about that in terms of your project. Is this something I'm going to have to be sewing from the inside and flipping out? I don't want something too firm there, so I want something on the softer side. You know, are you making shoes? Well, I want these things a certain softness. Are you making a bag? This can't be too rigid. So just kind of keep those things in mind. Again, I kind of go from that 1 to 10 scale. Each thing will kind of do it a little bit different, but medium obviously is kind of right in the middle. And then it'll be firm. You'll see soft. You'll see 1, 2, 3. You'll see 4, 5, 6. And so it just kind of is on that range. The lower end being the softer, the top end being a little bit more rigid. All right, so these are all going to be in the description. You just got to dig through it, know what you have in mind for your project, how you want it to be, and then you can kind of just chip away at each one of these things. And over time, you do it 2, 3, 4 times, you're going to start to get a better understanding about how all these characteristics, how all these little things work together. And then before you know it, you're gonna find you'll find your lane. I know at first it's intimidating, and I bought the wrong kind. I bought rawhide. I didn't know what the heck. I was like, oh, that's whatever. I don't know. I heard of it. Who cares? It was it was like a dog bone. Whatever. I don't know. It's sitting in a pile somewhere. But it was absolute trash. There was nothing I can do with it. There's nothing I can make out of it. But know what you're buying before you buy it. It's expensive. If you're looking to make something nice, you know, go through these things and really try to figure out what the heck you want to buy. It's out there. I can promise you. There's so many different options. So that's what we're going to get into now. Where the heck do I buy leather? I've gone through about 4 or 5 places that I really, really like, and I'll explain why of each one. My number one is Buckle Guy. that's where I first experienced the Horween leather, Wicket and Craig. These leathers are absolute top notch. They have filtered a few more different kinds in there now. Something Hoffman. Anyway, but yeah, there you look on there, and another thing I like about them is you can get a 6x12 panel, you can get a 12x12, you can get a 12x18, you can get a full side of leather, you can get everything under the sun. So if you're looking to try something out, or you just want to see what that leather feels like, how it does, you can get a much smaller size, so you don't have to waste, you know, $260 on 25 square feet of leather and you don't like it. So that's one of my favorites. Again, the colors, the tannage, they got everything. You can get veg tan, chrome tan, oil tan, I mean, they got every maker and everything, all the different weights, different grades. They usually try to keep it to very, very nice grades. It's pretty high-end leather, and they do a great job of, again, explaining everything so you know what you're going to get before you get it. But I would say Buckle Guy's my #1 supplier. I will say, if you're starting out, I caught wind of this very early in my leather working, is Maverick Leather Company. I love it because that Horween leather I talked about earlier, they sell this very, very high-end chrome tan leather. It's awesome. What I like about it is they sell the Horween leather, but maybe Horween just didn't like how that color came out. Maybe Horween didn't like how something came out, so they call it a second run. And so what they do, they sometimes will just rename something a different color, and it's still going to be that Horween leather. They kind of reproduce it. Listen, for the price, the size of these things, the quality of the leather, for me, it's it's like a little hidden gem in there. It's not a very, very popular one. Well, at least in the circles that I run, but it's one of my favorites. You can find some stuff on there you've never seen before. I've caught some stuff on there. I was like, I don't know what this is, but it's gorgeous. And that's the thing. Horween has very specific coloring for certain things that they name. So if it's outside of that, they're not going to sell it for, you know, and say it's something. They're not going to say this is Chrome XL natural. And so it may be a little bit different. But then you see it online and you say, that's incredible. I don't know what you call it. I don't care what you call it, but it's awesome. And they have a wide selection. They have a lot of stuff from SB Foot, which is, I think they make Red Wing boots, things like that. Very popular boots. I don't know if it's Red Wing, but I'm pretty sure it is. But there's a lot of very high-end leather producers that maybe something's just off a little bit, and you'll get a whole side. I got a whole side of Horween Sunflower, and I don't even know what was wrong with it. I have no idea. It looked like a mistake when I got it because it was perfect to me. So, and I've made so many things out of it at this point. But that's one, Maverick Leather Company. Check them out. I mean, so many wide varieties of things you can look through, and I can almost promise you, you're going to find something you've never seen before. Waterhouse Leather was another one. They had some different, less common things that I was seeing. And the few things I bought from them, I enjoyed them, and they came exactly as described. So that's another online retailer that I have seen. Again, it's not the most popular thing in the world, but for me, and you can get clearance sometimes. Well, on Maverick, they've had buy one get one free sides. Yeah, sign me up. I'm all for it. That's a ton of projects I can make, and that's some money for me. That's some money I can make too. So yeah, check those out. They may not be the most popular. They may not be the most fancy, but they have some darn good leather, and hopefully that tidbit in itself was worth your time right here. Tandy leather is probably one of the most common places most people start. They have stores around the country. Unfortunately, none by me. So I still have to buy some stuff online there. I get some stuff there. A lot of veg tan. They have a lot of varieties of vegetable tan leather, and that's probably what I buy there most. If I'm going chrome tan leather, I usually go somewhere else. But yeah, they're for beginning, I think they're a great place to look because they describe everything very well. They have all the grades, A, B, C, D. I don't think they have D, but craft. But they have everything kind of spelled out for you, and it can really walk you through the process. So definitely worth checking out. They have all the tools, all the adhesives, everything you may need, upholstery leather, all kind of stuff. So, but yeah, they're certainly worth checking out. For me, again, my number one is Buckle Guy. 1A is Maverick, because I have found so many gems in there at prices that are crazy. So for me, it's kind of the best bang for my buck. But hopefully you learned something from this. I know there's a lot of information. When you're looking at this, I was in a place where I had no idea how in the heck I was going to buy anything and make something out of it. There's a lot of money spent that I won't get back, but it's cool. I found some different ways to make these projects and I've made it work. But hopefully I can save you some time, save you some money, and your projects will get looking to how you want them, with the leather that you want, and a product that you're happy with. So I appreciate you stopping by, checking me out. Please like, subscribe, hit me with some comments. I'm hoping to get back as soon as I can and cut it up with you. But I do appreciate you stopping by. I've enjoyed doing this. Keep them likes, keep them comments coming, and hopefully we could turn this into something big, and I can be around your screens for quite some time. So we'll see you soon.